that what we do for a living now, we cannot possibly cause interest to occur. But what we can do is find small threads of interest and amplify it. What we can do is find the disconnected and connect them. That is our mission as marketers, as people who care now. But before we can unfold and unpack all of that, we need to learn to re-see what's going on around us, because when the world changes, sometimes we become blind. So let me tell you what I mean by that. Here's a bat. I grew up, maybe you did, with bats and dinosaurs when I was 5 years old. And if you take a picture of a bat, it turns out, turn him upside down, he turns into a total badass. Here are 3 bats getting ready for bed, except actually they're at a cocktail party. And my expectation is that from now on, you will never look at bats quite the same way. And so my job today is to help you learn to see the world differently, in a way that makes it so you can't unsee it, because we're living in a revolutionary time. This can be very expensive to get wrong. On my desk back in New York, I keep this box as a reminder of how expensive it is to not know how to see. In this box is something I made. It turns out in 1991 and 92, I had something you did not have then, access to the World Wide Web. There was no, I had access to the internet. There was no World Wide Web then. I saw it, and I said, I know what I'll do. I'll make a book about this internet thing. And so I got a publisher. They gave me $60,000. I hired 5 people. I spent all the money. I made a book. Inside the box is the T-shirt I made for the sales force to promote the book. That book went on to sell 1,848 copies. It was a total failure. No one bought the book. During that same period of time, 2 guys in California named David and Jerry saw what I saw. They had fewer resources than I had. They didn't make a book about the internet. They built a website called Yahoo. And at one point, my half would have been worth $80 billion. And all I got was this lousy T-shirt. And the reason is simple, because they saw what was possible. I had a cloudy vision because I saw what I knew how to do. They had a blank slate, and they said, what should we do? I said, what do I already know how to make? I didn't see. And the reason I didn't see, the reason you don't see, the reason our companies don't see, is because we've been blinded by success. Does anyone know who this is? Right, Yuri Gagarin, first man in space. What a heroic story. Basically, they wrapped the guy, the Soviets wrapped the guy in tinfoil, shot him into the orbit, he came back alive. It was a miracle. But the astonishing thing about Yuri Gagarin is this. He grew up here in a mud hut with no electricity, no running water, and no lights. In one 25-year span, human beings went from living underground in a hut to circling the earth. That'll spoil you for industrialism. Henry Ford made us all rich. Henry Ford pioneered and perfected productivity and scientific management. Henry Ford went to the workers of Detroit and he said, men, if you're used to making 50 cents a day, I will pay you $5 a day to come work for me. How could he possibly pull that off? How could he afford to give people a 10x raise in one day? The answer is simple, the assembly line. Do your job faster than you did it yesterday. So we took the idea of the assembly line and we spread it everywhere we possibly could, in every industry. The idea was, do what you did yesterday, do it faster, do it cheaper, go, go, go. And so to defend the factory, we created policies and ways of being and gatekeepers, and we made the factories ever bigger. Henry Ford had Ford shepherds that raised Ford sheep to be turned into Ford wool, to make Ford fabric so that they could be put into Ford cars. Because the bigger the factory, the more money you make, the more you control you have. Henry Ford said you can have any color car you want as long as it's black. He didn't say that because he liked black. He said it because black paint dries 4 hours faster than any other color. And if you can make a car 4 hours faster, you can make a car a little cheaper. And so the system. But the system was built on mass. How many people can we get to all buy the same thing? I'm slightly ashamed to say that the two most popular products in American refrigerators were American cheese, we basically named the worst possible flavor of cheese after my country, and Heinz ketchup. Both products made in enormous quantity, both products marketed to everyone. That's what industrialists need. Sell it to everyone. And that led to this whole idea of marketing. You know, this is Fancy Feast gourmet cat food, a very popular product in the US. Let's be clear. Cat food is not for cats, because if it was, it would come in mouse flavor. Cat food is for the people who buy it. That we tell a story to people that makes them happy to serve it to their cat. So I'm going to talk about marketing today, consumer marketing like this, not cat marketing, and business-to-business marketing, which if you do a Google search means you have to shake the hands of a lot of men wearing suits. Apparently in B2B marketing we spend a lot of time shaking hands, but the story is still the same. And the story revolves around industrialism, polishing off the edges, figuring out how to do it again and again, make it more reliable, make it a system, do it the way you always do it. So here's the question, delivered with as much pathos as my Finnish will allow me to. When did they industrialize your job? When did they turn what you do from a craft into an assembly line process? Because we've been doing it for a really long time. It turns out what Henry Ford understood is that mass production makes productivity happen. But you know what happens once you get mass production working? That's right, you need mass distribution, because you need everyone to be able to buy what you make. Mass distribution requires mass merchants, stores and distributors that sell it in bulk. And you know what mass merchants require from us? Mass marketing. That's why we invented it, to keep the factory happy. How can we reach everyone? How can we get everyone to buy what we make? You want me to tell you the answer? Babies. Whenever possible, run ads with babies in them, no matter what you're selling. It works. And if babies don't work, wrap the babies in saran wrap. It even works with triplets. But sometimes babies aren't the answer, so what advertisers realize is you should use doctors, fake doctors, real doctors, celebrity doctors, doctors of any kind, doctors. It doesn't matter whether you have unfortunate juxtapositions now and then. What matters is this: the person you work for, the shareholders you work for, the people around you keep saying the same four-letter word again and again. And that four-letter word is more. Get me more market share. Get me more customers. Get me more shelf space. We've got a factory. It knows how to do its job. It knows how to make insurance policies. It knows how to make electronic devices. It knows how to make whatever it is we make. It doesn't matter what people want. We want them to want what we have. So you, marketer, take this money and go get me more. Which leads to this: average products for average people, except maybe Pop-Tarts. But the rest of these products are deliberately built to appeal to the masses. Because you know what mass is? By definition, average. If you're going to advertise something to everyone, you better make something everyone wants to buy. If you're going to market someone to everyone, the thinking goes, better market something everyone wants to buy. And this worked beautifully for 70 years. And I'm here with like a whole string of bad news. You ready? Problem number one. This picture's fuzzy. I had a bad cold when I took it. But here's the deal. The blue box in the middle center, that brand manager spent $100 million interrupting me and my country mates. $100 million on coupons and shelving allowances and TV ads and magazine ads and radio ads. Why? Because that brand manager figured that after seeing all those ads, I'd go buy the product. And once I started taking that pain reliever, I'd keep taking that pain reliever, and she'd earn back her $100 million. Well, you know what I did to those $100 million worth of ads? The same thing everyone else did. I ignored them. And the reason is simple. I don't have a pain reliever problem. I solved my pain reliever problem 20 years ago by buying the generic or the yellow box or the cheap one. Well, this is your challenge. You are busy trying to sell something that solves a problem people don't think they have. And if you're showing up trying to sell something that people don't think they need, they're not going to listen to you. That's a challenge. Number two, if any of you have been listening to all this nonsense and noise and everything else about digital marketing, what you've been told is that consumers now have the attention span of a goldfish. And that what you have to do is in less than 8 seconds, get your banner point across, get your video point across, noise and noise and noise and noise. Here's the thing. Your customers aren't goldfish. And the idea that we need to make ever more noise in front of ever more people isn't working. Next problem. This is a picture I took at the Holiday Inn last night. No, I didn't take this last night. I took this at a Hyatt. I don't know, it's dark. It's 3 o'clock in the morning in a hotel room. That's what it looks like. All hotel rooms look like this at 3 o'clock in the morning. They're supposed to be dark, which makes perfect sense. Except that hotels have been telling us for all these years that they're all offering us a dark, quiet room. And when the internet doesn't exist, it's no big deal. You go to the brand you know. But now we've got this thing called sort by price. You put in your neighborhood, sort by price. Here's 20 hotels. They're all the same. Take the cheap one. That sentence, they're all the same, take the cheap one, is a real threat to you and the work you do. So, I'm going to drink this water. Hopefully there's nothing bad in it. So, this mindset that we have to find some poor schmo and assault him over and over and over again until one day he buys from us is now officially broken. That people aren't listening. They are choosing not to listen. They have a remote control and they are not afraid to use it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have branded ourselves to death, and we have no one to blame but us. We ran too many ads, we took too much attention, we made too many promises, and then we invented the internet and gave everyone a remote control, and they are using it. More bad news. In New York City, on 5th Avenue, at 20th Street, I can stand in one spot, and in that spot, I am less than 350 feet away from 6 different stores where I could buy yoga pants. The dreaded yoga pant shortage is finally over. And the thing is, whatever you make, the same thing is true. That just down the street is a camera store that will sell me more than 600 different kinds of cameras. And right next door to that is a place where there's thousands of cell phones to choose from. And if I go online, this is how many financial instruments and insurance companies. That's just the beginning of the alphabet. The fact is, too many choices, an infinite number of replaceable choices, which leads to a piece of news that's good news and bad news all rolled into one. Finland is now the center of the universe. It is the center of the universe because instead of being way up north, far away from everywhere, it's one click away from anything. That it used to be that all you had to do was be the best in Helsinki because people couldn't travel very far. But then, bit by bit, the range that we could reach out to keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And now, for anybody, anywhere, if they want you, they'll find you. And if you're the best in the world, they'll buy from you. So that's the good news and the bad news. The good news is everyone is a click away. The bad news is everyone is a click away. So you've got to make the decision about whether you're worth reaching, whether you're worth contacting, whether you're worth buying from.